be true. Speculating, a long time waiting to hear a word back from you. Conversations in my head got me conflicted with what you said. I tend to second guess myself, like too much. 'Cause I think that I've been falling ever since that day out in the park. And I don't know if this is love, but maybe this could be the start. Wondering if you feel the same. Wondering if my heart's okay. I don't know if this is love or just a phase.
Just delaying and replaying that look upon your face. Your life is contagious, never ages, always seems to make my day. Conversations in my head got me conflicted with what you said. I tend to second guess too much. 'Cause I think that I've been falling ever since that day out in the park. And I don't know if this is love, but maybe this could be the start. Wondering if you feel the same. Wondering if my heart's okay. I don't know if this is love or just a phase.
Oh, if I could have you, I would float and touch the moon.
Know that when I'm with you, there's nothing we can't do. 'Cause I think that I've been falling ever since that day out in the park. And I don't know if this is love, but maybe this could be the start. Wondering if you feel the same. Wondering if my heart's okay. I don't
friends, and welcome to another video. My name is Lizzie, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, then thank you so much for joining me again today. We have another travel journal with me, and I hope you enjoyed watching all the footage from my trip. So now we get to make 3 spreads, as I wanted to do one dedicated to each day of the trip. And if you want to watch any of my previous travel journal spreads, then make sure to check them out on my channel, and if you enjoy, please subscribe, as it really helps me out. So you might have noticed that I have some Instax photos ready to use, and that's because I treated myself to an Instax printer, and I'm honestly so happy that I did. I've always wanted one but just couldn't really justify the purchase at the time. So in my previous spreads, I had been printing out pictures from my computer and kind of just editing them to look like they were in a Polaroid frame, which to be honest was pretty good. It worked well for when I didn't have one, but now that I do have one, I'm so much happier with it. So I really like how it kind of gives more of a 3-dimensional bit to the spread. I really like the colours. And I do actually have an Instax camera, but I just never take photos with it. I used to a lot, but then recently I don't, because I just kind of forget, and I've already got my filming camera, I've got my phone, I usually have some other random stuff with me, and there's not usually space for it in my bag, so I wasn't able to use that on my trip. So instead I used the printer, and I'm really happy that I did, because it meant that I wasn't getting any blank photos or anything going wrong, because the film is pretty expensive. So I'm happy that I got it, and I think it gives a whole new kind of vibe to my travel spreads and journal spreads. So yeah, I'm going to keep using it, obviously. So the first spread that we're doing is from a place called Rydal Hall, and that is in the Lake District in the UK. And we didn't actually stay in the Lake District, we kind of stayed in a really random place. My stepdad works for the company, so we kind of got a really cheap holiday away for a few days, because it's usually quite an expensive place to go to. So we didn't really have to pay much because he's an employee there, and the place is really nice itself. It was kind of giving me Ozark vibes, because it's a big lake and then just all the holiday homes around it, but around that there wasn't really anything. It was kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we basically spent each day just driving to a different place, and we did kind of plan some of the trips ahead. So for example, Rydal Hall, that is somewhere that I've wanted to go for ages, because basically I saw the waterfall on Instagram on someone's account. It was just a reel that came up, and if you've been following my channel for a while, then you know that I love waterfalls, I love forests, and I love rivers. So I really wanted to see this waterfall, but I honestly had no idea where it is, because it didn't say on the post where it was or anything like that, and I tried to find it and I didn't have a clue. So it seemed like a little secret, where is this place? But then my best friend, who does a lot of hiking, she posted it on her Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, you went? And she was like, yes. And then she just sent me the exact location, because I said I was going a few weeks later. So it was actually really easy for us to find, and it's just on a big kind of country hall called Rydal Hall. You don't have to pay to get there or anything, and this is kind of just squirreled away. So it's basically the first viewing spot, purpose-built viewing spot for a waterfall. I don't know if I'm assuming that's just in the United Kingdom, but yeah, basically some fancy dude built this little tiny house to watch the waterfall through the window, which I think is pretty damn cute, and I would love to have one of those in my garden. So when we got there was I was expecting basically loads of people to be in there, because it's a very small space, and I knew that the video had gone viral on Instagram and things, so I expected to not really get any cute photos or particularly be able to spend much time in there. But when we got there was this old couple just kind of eating their sandwiches in there, and we were chatting to them for a little bit. They were really nice. She was insisting on taking loads of photos of me on my phone. She was like, I'll take the photos of you. And they were just all out of focus and stuff. But she was so cute, bless her. So I just went along with it. And then after a bit they left, so then we just had it to ourselves for quite a while, and then more people came, so we kind of just went and let them have a little look. But yeah, it was really, really pretty, and because it had rained recently, the waterfall was like really big and everything was very green around it, and it just felt very magical. So I would say that this one spot was probably the highlight of the whole trip, and I'm very happy that I got to see it. On this walk we also saw the cave and we saw lots of different things, and it turns out it was quite busy because it turns out that that was a filming spot for The Witcher on Netflix. So a lot of the places that we went to on this walk were places that had been used for filming, and I've never actually seen the show, so I feel like I need to watch it now that I've visited all the spots. But yeah, back to the spread. I wanted to go with green because everything on this walk was green, all the moss, and it was giving me like forest vibes. So I used a lot of little bits of kind of like leafy stationery, and I also used the address from the receipt from the cafe at the hall because we stopped for some cake and coffee, and I wanted to just add that kind of to help me remember where it was as well in case I ever want to go back. And then I just kind of started adding these little details from my sticker release book. These are actually from a washi tape that some lovely person sent me, so I spent a long time before creating these spreads, cutting them all out so that I could use them all. I did actually do all these 3 spreads in one sitting, which was quite a task, but I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I didn't get bored, I didn't kind of want to stop or take a break. I just kind of smashed through it because I realised that I really should just film the travel journal spreads like as soon as I've been on the trip, because then it's a lot more like fresh in my memory and things. So this is the first spread. I really like how this one turned out, just added lots of little details. I didn't really have a particular plan, but I really like how this one ended up in the end. I think it's best for me to do them straight after the trip, more because I'm more inspired as well to create the spread. So for my Scotland ones, I did them quite a bit after, but that was because I couldn't really film because the lighting was so bad at my old house, so the times that I could film was very limited, and then that meant that I had to just keep waiting to make them, and then I kind of like lost inspiration a little bit. So I think it's better to just do them when I want to do them, kind of thing. So I got back from the trip and I really wanted to make all these spreads, so I just sat down and did it. And then the next spread was from the day 2. We went to visit a place called Morecombe, and it's just kind of about a half an hour drive from where we were staying, and it was just like classic English beachside. You know, we don't have very nice beaches, or you can't really go in the sea because it's kind of gross. So we went here just kind of to go for fish and chips and a little walk, and then we stumbled upon the most amazing bookshop that I've ever been to in my whole life. So you saw in the video, it was just, that was like the tiniest bit of it. Every single like little walkway had like 6 more walkways attached to it. Everything on the ceiling was just piled high with books. The floor was piled. There was just like bags of random stuff. It was the weirdest place ever, but it was so cool. Like, everyone in there was just like amazed every time they walked in. And I kind of just asked the guy, I was like, do you have any nature books? Because I could not find like anything. And he took me like straight to the exact spot. There was like no organization to me, but he had obviously organized it in his head, so he knew exactly where to take me. And he was like saying that it should be here, but it was like some people move things, so just have a look around. And I was like, okay. And I spent a long time looking at the books. I lost my boyfriend for like half an hour because he was looking at records, so he got a load of records in the shop. And I kind of told myself that I couldn't spend more than £10 in the shop, and that was because I only had £10 cash, even though we did have card. But I was like, I've got £10 cash, so I'm going to use that, and that's it, because I do have a lot of vintage books already, and I don't really have space for any more, so I had to just limit myself. So I actually bought 3 books. I bought one for a friend that I'm going to give to her on her birthday, and then the other 2 are by the same author, and they are both very similar, and they are the Edith Holden books. And I had not actually heard of these books before, but then my pen pal actually told me that they're actually quite big in the like junk journal community and things, so that is what I ended up buying. I bought 2 of them, and yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail about these books because they have inspired me to make my own nature journal, and I'm going to be doing a whole video series on that in the future where I get to go out and journal more outdoors and do lots of fun things like that. So if you want to see that as well, keep an eye out because it should be arriving soon, my journal, and then I'm going to get started on it straight away because I'm just really excited and I feel like autumn will be a great time to start it. Back to the spread. I went for kind of like a brown vintagey theme to go with the bookshop because even though it was the seaside, the thing that I wanted to remember most was the bookshop. That was kind of like the highlight for me. So I used these old film strips, like washi tape. I think they're from AliExpress, and they just have like different autumn pictures on them. They have like dark academia theme and things like that. So I thought they'd go well. And then I added the little girl sticker reading, and then I did add a sticker of a sunset because, well, a beach, because I felt like I needed a little reminder that actually this was on the beach and it wasn't all just about the bookshop. So for the picture as well, I feel like these pictures came out better than the first ones that I printed because I didn't realise that you could change the contrast and the colour and things like that on the Instax app. So I started to do that on the later pictures, and then that made them a lot more like saturated because a lot of the pictures that I'd printed out before were quite washed out, and I felt like the colours didn't really translate from the photo to the Polaroid version, even though I know obviously that when you have a Polaroid they tend to be more washed out, but I did want them to be a lot darker for these spreads, so I did edit them in the app just to increase the colour so that when it printed it would be a lot more vibrant, and that definitely worked. So I think I'm just going to do that every single time. And then this is an old vintage negative, like a real one. It's one of my old ones, and it's just a blank one that probably went wrong at some point, so I wanted to add that as well. And then just some different vintage memos and papers, and the geometric washi tape is from Your Creative Studio, and so is the little book sticker at the top. And then this little stamp is one of my favourites. I've realised that I've been using it a lot, but it is very cute and it kind of just adds a little detail to different projects. Now I did start to use my tweezers on my sticker release book, but it actually made it more difficult for me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the actual sticker release book. I feel like the papers are very flimsy, not in a bad way, it's just it makes it difficult to pick the stickers up. So my fingers were actually a lot easier to use, and I wanted to add this little sign at the top that was from a washi tape that someone sent me, but it just kind of gave the vibe of the shop, the little cute sign outside. I feel like this book has, as in my sticker release book, has like really improved how I journal, because when you're journaling I feel like it's a lot easier to add smaller details and things around your pictures and your writing, and sometimes you don't always know what to put on there. So I do find that this book is really handy for that, because if I'm not sure what to do I can just kind of add some little things from the book. These quote stickers, I'm not entirely sure where they're from. An old pen pal sent them to me ages ago and I just kind of found them in my cupboard and forgot that I even had them. So I wanted to use those because of their colours, and I felt like they'd go with the different spreads. And then I just used this music stamp to add some details around the edge, although it didn't exactly turn out so great, but it just added a little bit of colour. And that is the second spread all finished. This one is definitely more of vintage vibes rather than nature vibes. And then now we are on to the last spread for day 3 of my trip. So this one, I've just got one photo. It's a picture of me in front of the lake that we visited. It's not a huge lake, even though we went to the Lake District, which has a lot of big lakes in it. We found that it was just so busy. I don't know if it's because it was the summer holidays and it's just the time that people tend to go away, but we were kind of getting fed up of just having so many people, because we usually go for walks that are quite out of the way and we don't really see any other humans, and we kind of like that. So we wanted to try and find somewhere that was a little bit more quiet. So we just kind of looked on the maps on the outskirts of the Lake District, and we noticed this tiny little lake on the map, and then there was just lots of forest around it. So we were like, yeah, let's just go there. So we drove there, and the walk wasn't too far, it wasn't too difficult, but it was by the stream, which was lovely, just walking over lots of cute bridges. And then we got to this tiny lake which had lots of cute lily pads and things, and then we thought that was the lake, like we thought we'd made it, but then we realized that there was a kind of a ramp, so we followed that, we got to another bridge, and then there was this huge lake which we didn't even know was there. So we ended up walking around and then just sitting by the lake for like a few hours, and we did see a couple of people, but they were like swimming in the other side of the lake, and we just kind of just chilled, which was really nice. There was lots of wildlife, we saw lots of like little lizards and things, and there were some blackberries, so I picked some blackberries and ate them as a little snack on my walk. But yeah, this was very nice because we had been surrounded by lots of people, and it was nice just to like have peace and quiet and just chill and kind of just sit in the sun. Even though it wasn't particularly warm, it was actually quite cold because of the wind, because we were quite high up, but the actual sun was quite warm, which I didn't realise. So when I got home, I had a little bit of sunburn on my chest, because I sunburn very easily because I'm pale, like Casper the Ghost. So yeah, I got sunburnt, but it's fine. So for this one, I wanted to go for a little bit more blue theme, because obviously it's the forest like the first spread, but this one is more of water related, I guess. And this really pretty blue paper is from Sostrine Green. It's from their little origami paper set, and I've been keeping my eye out for it for ages, and every time I went to Sostrine Green it was sold out. Even my friend tried to get it me, and Lucy also tried to get it me, but it was just always sold out. So I finally got it, and I really wanted to just use this blue paper, and I decided as well to write the name straight onto the spread rather than doing it on sticker paper this time. And I followed your guys' advice, because you commented on my last travel journal saying to use sticky tape for more bigger things to stick in the journal, because I tried to stick in a little painting that I did, and it didn't work too well with glue. So I used double-sided sticky tape like you guys said, and it definitely worked a lot better. Again, I used the same leaf stamp as well, just to kind of bring the 3 spreads together, because I do like to do my travel journal spreads. If it's like one trip, then I like to do multiple spreads, and I like to do them like in chronological order or like together. But for the rest of the journal, I'm not really too prescriptive about it, so I will put anything in there. If I just want to make an art spread, a collage spread, if I want to journal about something that's just happened in the day, or if I just want to do some writing. My journal is kind of an everything journal, and I just do the travel spreads together in like little pockets kind of thing. So like all my Scotland spreads are together somewhere earlier in the journal, and then these 3 spreads will be together as well. This washi tape that I've stuck down is a sample from one of my pen pals, and it's by Wildberry Labs, and it is honestly like the nicest washi tape I've ever seen in my whole life. And they do loads of others which are really pretty. It's kind of like Freckles tea vibes, but it's so expensive, and I've only seen one place to buy it from on Etsy, and that it was like working out at like nearly £40 for like 2 washi tapes, which I can't really buy right now. So, but maybe in the future I will have to treat myself, because they are just so pretty. So yeah, thank you to Gabby for sending me those, because I've loved using them in my spreads. But yeah, as I was saying, this is an everything journal, and I'm just going to keep going with it. Even though it's near the end of the year, I'm just going to keep using it, I think. And I'll probably just start a new insert in January, but I'm going to keep the same journal cover because it's lasted me a long time, and I don't feel like I need to get a whole new journal just because it's 2024 soon. So I'm going to stick to this one. I'm going to have my Traveller's Notebook weekly insert. I've pre-ordered the one for next year. That's kind of like how I organise my whole life. And then I will also have a nature journal on the go. So yeah, you'll hear more about that in the future, but that will be more, well, nature stuff, I guess. So here is the last spread all finished. I really like this one. I like all the blues, I like all the little details and the little washi tape that I used. Yeah, I think this one turned out cute. I also hope that I go somewhere in autumn. I don't actually have anything planned, but I really want to do some like really autumny travel spreads, so I guess I'll just have to go pumpkin picking or something silly like that I can just journal about. So I have an excuse to make a really cute autumn theme. After writing this spread, I wanted to just add a couple more details because I had a little bit of a white space that was kind of annoying me, so I just used these from the sticker book just to fill the little spot. But yeah, that is all of the travel spreads finished. I hope you enjoyed watching me create these 3 spreads, watching my footage from the trip, seeing what I got up to, and listening to me ramble for half an hour. So yeah, if you have made it to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you can put a little book emoji if you made it to the end for the cute bookshop. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot, and I will see you guys in the future. Bye.